A 19-year-old Stanford dropout promises to revolutionize healthcare with a single drop of blood. She raises $945 million, gets on magazine covers, becomes the world's youngest female billionaire. The only problem? It was all fake. This is the story of Elizabeth Holmes, who built a $9 billion company on lies, fake demonstrations, and blood tests that could have killed people. From Silicon Valley darling to federal prisoner in 11 years. How do you fool billionaire investors, major corporations, and the entire world with technology that never worked? The Impossible Promise, 2003. Elizabeth Holmes, 19, drops out of Stanford with a crazy idea. Test for hundreds of diseases with just a finger prick of blood. Traditional blood tests required vials of blood and took days. Elizabeth promised instant results from a single drop, using a machine she'd call Edison. There was just one problem. Medical experts told her it was impossible. The technology didn't exist. A drop of blood couldn't run hundreds of tests. Elizabeth ignored them. She had a different plan. Fake it until you make it. She founded Theranos, combining therapy and diagnosis. Her pitch was simple: faster, cheaper, painless blood testing that would save millions of lives. Investors were mesmerized. Who wouldn't want to revolutionize healthcare? But Elizabeth had no medical training, no engineering background, and no prototype. What she did have was an incredible talent for manipulation. The elaborate deception. By 2006, Theranos had burned through millions and still had no working product. The Edison machine constantly broke down and gave wildly inaccurate results. When investors wanted to see demonstrations, Elizabeth orchestrated elaborate theater. Investors would get their finger pricked, then be escorted out for lunch and meetings. While they were gone, engineers would grab the blood sample and run it on traditional machines in a back room. When investors returned, they'd see results and assume the Edison had worked perfectly. In reality, their blood had never touched Elizabeth's machine. The fake demos worked. Theranos raised hundreds of millions more, but the lies kept escalating. Elizabeth fired anyone who questioned the technology, including her own CFO who tried to stop the fake demonstrations. She surrounded herself with yes men terrified to speak up. Employees worked under constant surveillance, signed multiple NDAs, and faced legal threats if they revealed the truth. The Walgreens Partnership, 2013. Elizabeth announced partnerships with Walgreens and Safeway to offer Theranos blood tests in stores nationwide. This was her masterstroke. If major retailers were partnering with Theranos, the technology must work, right? Wrong. The Edison machines still didn't function, but Elizabeth couldn't back down now. Walgreens had paid millions up front, so she made a horrifying decision: launch anyway. Theranos opened wellness centers in Arizona, offering blood tests to real patients with broken machines. When people came for tests, they often got blood drawn the traditional way, with syringes, not finger pricks. The blood was shipped via FedEx to hastily built labs run by inexperienced staff. Many samples overheated in transit, making results completely unreliable. Theranos was using traditional machines for most tests, then slapping their brand on the results. The revolutionary technology was pure fiction. Young, healthy patients got results saying they had cancer. Others got false negatives for serious conditions. Elizabeth was literally playing Russian roulette with human lives. The media darling. Despite the chaos behind the scenes, Elizabeth became a media sensation. Forbes named her the world's youngest self-made female billionaire, worth $4.5 billion. She graced magazine covers as the next Steve Jobs. Elizabeth played the part perfectly. She adopted Steve Jobs' uniform, black turtlenecks every day. She hired Apple's former marketing team. She even scheduled meetings on Wednesdays, because that's when Jobs held his meetings. But the Steve Jobs comparison revealed something darker. She believed so completely in her own hype that she thought the technology would eventually catch up to her promises. Elizabeth even faked her voice, speaking in an unnaturally deep tone during business meetings.
Over the last 11 years, we've reinvented the traditional laboratory.
Employees noticed it would slip back to normal when she got excited or drunk. Everything about her was performance. Even her emotional story about losing her uncle to cancer, which she told repeatedly to gain sympathy, was fabricated. She barely knew him. The media ate it up. A young woman disrupting male-dominated Silicon Valley with life-saving technology? It was the perfect narrative. The Whistleblowers. But you can't hide the truth forever. 2015. Wall Street Journal reporter John Carreyrou received an anonymous tip that Theranos was lying about everything. Several brave ex-employees broke their NDAs to speak with him, despite facing massive legal threats. Tyler Schultz and Erica Chung risked their careers and financial ruin to expose the truth. Theranos hired private investigators to stalk these whistleblowers. Elizabeth personally called the media mogul Rupert Murdoch, to try killing the story. But the article published anyway, revealing that Theranos had been using traditional machines for most tests because their own technology was fundamentally broken. Elizabeth immediately denied everything, calling the sources disgruntled employees, but the damage was done. Regulators conducted surprise inspections and found that Theranos machines failed quality control checks 33% of the time. Results were up to 146% different from conventional machines. Their syphilis test was only 65% accurate, meaning 35 out of 100 people got wrong diagnoses. The house of cards collapsed almost instantly. The trial and consequences. 2018. Theranos dissolved completely. Elizabeth was charged with defrauding investors and patients. Even then, she showed no remorse. She tried blaming everyone else, her employees, her board, and especially her former boyfriend, Sunny Balwani, who ran daily operations. Elizabeth claimed Sunny had abused and controlled her, causing her poor judgment, but the evidence was overwhelming. After a trial featuring devastating testimony from former employees and patients, Elizabeth was convicted on 4 counts of fraud. She was sentenced to over 11 years in federal prison and ordered to pay $452 million in restitution. But the real tragedy wasn't just the fraud, it was the human cost. Ian Gibbons, Theranos' chief scientist, fell into depression after being demoted for questioning Elizabeth's methods. He overdosed on pills and died. When his widow tried to contact Elizabeth for condolences, she never responded. Theranos only sent a letter demanding she return Ian's laptop immediately. The AI advantage. Elizabeth Holmes fooled the world through charisma, connections, and elaborate deception. She manually crafted fake demonstrations, personally recruited high-profile board members, and spent years building false credibility. But today's entrepreneurs have tools that could have exposed her fraud instantly. AI can now analyze blood test accuracy in real time, detect anomalies in medical data, and verify scientific claims against vast databases of research. While Elizabeth was staging fake demos and manipulating investors manually, modern AI can predict which medical innovations are scientifically viable and which are pure fantasy. If you want to build your own breakthrough business while leveraging AI tools that reveal real opportunities and avoid costly deceptions, check out AI Frontrunners in the description, the course that's helping entrepreneurs use artificial intelligence for genuine innovation and rapid market analysis. The difference? Elizabeth built her empire on lies. You can build yours on data-driven insights that actually work. The verdict. So what's the verdict on Elizabeth Holmes? Visionary entrepreneur or dangerous fraudster? She raised nearly $1 billion, partnered with major retailers, and convinced the world's most sophisticated investors. Her marketing and networking skills were undeniably brilliant, but she also endangered thousands of patients, destroyed countless careers, and set back legitimate medical innovation by years. The saddest part? Some believe that if Elizabeth had been honest about the challenges and worked incrementally toward her vision, she might have actually revolutionized healthcare. Instead, she chose deception over development, hype over honesty, and fiction over science. Her story proves that in the high-stakes world of Silicon Valley, the line between fake it till you make it and fraud is thinner than most entrepreneurs think. From Stanford dropout to federal prisoner, Elizabeth Holmes built and destroyed a $9 billion empire in just 15 years. Her story serves as the ultimate cautionary tale. When ambition without ethics meets unlimited funding and zero oversight, the consequences can be devastating. What other controversial tech stories should we break down next? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, in the world of breakthrough innovation, the most important breakthrough is always honesty.